Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hello, I'm David Hughes, and this is the Esoteric Teaching Introductory Seminar, continued. So far, we've gone over the origins of yoga, tantra, and meditation, and how they are all originally found in the Vedic literatures of India. The Vedas are the sacred Sanskrit literatures that are actually eternal, but were written down 5,000 years ago because people's memories were becoming faulty, and that would safeguard them from change and deterioration. But what are the Vedas? And how do they safeguard the teachings of yoga, tantra, and meditation? How are they structured? And how can we understand their meaning even in present-day society? The Sanskrit root word, ved, means to know. So the Vedas are books of knowledge. Actually, any knowledge which leads towards spiritual development and ultimate freedom is accepted as Veda, or knowledge. But specifically, the Vedas are the 4 ancient works used in Vedic sacrifices, which were the method of self-realization in the Treta Yuga, a previous historical age. The Vedas are the foundation of Vedic culture, which is a civilization based on the principle of universal self-realization. In other words, the Vedas do not teach material or economic development, they don't teach political power, and they don't teach scientific materialism. There are 4 original Vedas. The Yajas, Rik, Atharva, and Sama Vedas are liturgical works used in Vedic sacrifices. The 4 priests would sit around the sacrificial fire and chant these 4 books of sacred lore while sacrifices were being offered into the fire, which is conceived of as the mouth of God. It is also considered a gateway into higher dimensions, where spiritual existence is eternal, and where we are not subject to the principles of material suffering such as birth, death, old age, and disease, where there's full knowledge and perfect engagement of the soul in the service of God. So these 4 Vedas, when they are chanted as liturgical works, they give rise to philosophical questions. In other words, the 4 Vedas themselves do not answer the questions of philosophy, such as who are we, why are we here, what is God, where are we going after death. The 4 Vedas are strictly for ceremonial practices only. So even though they mention so many things about the spiritual world, they don't explain them. If you read or hear the Vedas, any intelligent person will be left with more questions than answers. These questions are called Upanishad, and therefore there are many Upanishads which give philosophical questions and answers based on the 4 Vedas. The 108 famous Upanishads are only the tip of the iceberg. There are thousands of Upanishads on different subjects, but 108 are considered the cream of the crop and the essential questions that everyone must know. For example, why is the soul dear? Why do we worship God? Why is God so all-famous? And why do we offer sacrifice, and so on and so forth? All these questions are answered perfectly in the 108 Upanishads. The questions and answers and philosophical discussion of the Upanishads is summarized in the Vedanta Sutra. Veda means knowledge, and Anta means the end or the conclusion. Sutras are codes, or short, pithy expressions that give the essence of a subject without really mentioning the details. The Vedanta Sutra were like meditation notes or author's notes by Vedavyas as he wrote down all the conclusions of the Vedas in meditation. He didn't want to break his meditation to write prose, so he wrote these pithy little notes that nowadays we scratch our heads over and try to puzzle out the meaning. But there's really no need to do that, because he wrote a perfect commentary on his own Vedanta Sutra, and this is the esoteric teaching that we follow. Once the conclusions of the Vedas are firm, then the tantras are there to give us practical instructions on how to implement them. Tantras are not just about sex, they're about every possible concern of human life on planet Earth. They are actually instructions on how to live a spiritual life in the material world. And there are over 10,000 tantras on different subjects like how to build a home, how to farm, how to manage a community, how to manage a family, how to bring up children, how to become educated, how to choose a guru, how to perform worship ceremonies, on and on and on. Even science and technology, everything is included in the tantras. And then there are also the Puranas. Purana means history. Puran means ancient. So Puranas are histories of the Vedic civilization that go back thousands and thousands of years, sometimes millions of years into the past. They even explain the creation of the universe, not just in a few verses, but in a very detailed way, very scientific way. The construction of the cosmic creation and the evolution of the different species of human and non-human beings. Everything is there in the Puranas that you could ever want to know about the world, about the universe, and about life. Also given in the Puranas, which is very significant, are the histories of self-realized beings and how they attained their state of spiritual emancipation. These are very instructive for anyone who aspires towards spiritual advancement. Now, all these esoteric literatures require commentaries because, for one thing, they're very ancient. In fact, they're eternal. And the Vedas contain instructions for all four historical ages: Satya Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Kali Yuga, which is our present age. However, only the instructions that are meant for Kali Yuga will do us any good. Therefore, we have to have commentaries for, among other things, to discriminate which of the instructions in the Vedas are appropriate for us at the present time, and which are meant for people of other times or even other planets. So the commentaries are called exegesis, or exegetical writings, and there are four authorized Vedic lineages of these writings coming down from a very ancient time. Now, many schools nowadays follow different lineages which are not authorized by the original author of the Vedas, that is Vedavyas, Vyasadeva. So we have to be careful which commentaries we accept, because they can very easily lead us astray and into confusion. Vaishnavas, or those who follow the esoteric teaching, only accept commentaries written by authorized followers of the original author of the Vedas himself. That simplifies things a great deal, as we'll see in the future. And finally, there are other books called Vedāṅgas, or limbs of the Vedas, such as the Itihasas, the Brahmanas, and the Samhitas. And these are mainly prayers, worship, and law books meant to guide people in their everyday spiritual practices and engagements in life. Now, there's another division of the Vedas, which is very interesting, based on the three modes of material nature. The Vedas recognize that there are different kinds of people in this world. And although spiritual life is for everyone, still there are different methods appropriate to different types of people. Therefore, the Vedas broadly divide people into three types: those who are based on the mode of goodness, those who conduct the mode of passion, and those who are influenced by the mode of ignorance. And there are three principal demigods: Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva, respectively, govern those under the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Now, who are the people who are under these different modes, and how can we recognize them? Well, that's an elaborate topic that we'll cover in the Initiates course. But for now, we can understand that Vaishnavas, yogis, Brahmanas, and Vedic scholars are people in the mode of goodness. They're generally non-violent, vegetarians, deeply thoughtful and contemplative people, people who practice meditation and yoga, not superficially but deeply, with the aim of self-realization or emancipation from material suffering. These are people in the mode of goodness. The people in the mode of passion are generally materialists, religionists, fruitive workers, scientists,